I want to bring in a furloughed federal worker now. Ariana Kelly, she is an Air Force veteran who works at the USDA. Thanks so much for taking the time. What do you make of this moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's an uncertain time. This has been a stressful time for federal workers. The year has been pretty tough. Right now, our primary focus is to get back to work and continue to provide services for the American people, which is what, we all want to do.
Under President Trump this year, the federal workforce will decrease by hundreds of thousands. President Trump and Republicans have argued that these agencies are bloated and that a lot of the employees don't earn their keep. But take a listen to what we're hearing from one Republican congressman about this shutdown and those who are currently furloughed and could lose their jobs.
President Trump's been very clear that he intends to follow through with these layoffs.
I think there are going to be layoffs, but I think those layoffs will be designed not to impose harm on the American people, but there'll be layoffs that I think the administration thinks that over time will make the country stronger. There are some federal employees that shouldn't have jobs, though, Kristen. Not every single federal job is some sort of a birthright.
Ariana, you served the country in the military and then again in the civil service. What's your reaction to that kind of rhetoric about federal workers?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's been a tough year for federal workers. I think that ultimately, like I mentioned, our primary purpose, the reason we enter the civil service is to serve the American people, because we want to bring that good into the world. The job of the government is to serve the American people. And unfortunately, major cuts like this, it really prevents our ability to do what we need to do. I can say, that within my program specifically, where I work with a lot of dedicated civil servants that care about their jobs, that care about our mission. And I think that, in my experience, I haven't seen this bloat. I haven't seen this lazy federal worker. I didn't see it when I was in the military. I don't see it now at USDA. So I just think that it's a little bit of a false narrative.
Do departments have enough people currently to do the job effectively? Before this, was your department already feeling crunched or overworked?
Yeah, I think we're in a little bit of an uncertain time on what this looks like. We've definitely lost a lot of good people through, the rifts and the DRPs and the things that have happened this year. And sorry about that. Got a little call there. And I think it's definitely, putting us under pressure. I don't think that we could tolerate any more losses at this point. I think that we've already lost more than what we can afford.
The New York Times
ultimately,
report. No, go ahead, please.
I'm ultimately right. This is not just it's not just unsettling for the people that came into the civil service and wanted to serve their country in that way. Ultimately, this affects the American people, right? It affects our ability to provide services so that people can get health care, that people can feed their children, that military members can receive the service and the health care that they deserve. And that really delays all of those processes, and it makes it very uncertain.
You're right. It's not about any individual keeping their job. It is about services to the American people, which is what I know is driving your mission, your sense of purpose in the work that you do. The New York Times reports that there are wheels in motion already for more firings. The Interior Department employees were told to take home their government devices to receive any information on mass firings, according to internal emails they've reviewed. Has anyone in your division or at your department gotten similar guidance? Were you told to do the same?
We were not. I would say, I haven't been part of any previous shutdowns at my current agency, but this does feel a little more chaotic than what I would have expected.
Right now, 42,000 federal workers at the USDA are in limbo, and so are the crucial programs they manage, which feed more than 41 million Americans a month. The government shutdown means half of the Agriculture Department staff is furloughed, while future funding is uncertain for critical federal assistance programs like SNAP, food stamps, and WIC, which provides food and support to mothers and babies. Joining me now, Ellen May, a furloughed federal worker and chapter president of the NTEU Chapter 255. Ellen, I want to let people know you are not representing your employer here. You're here speaking for yourself. Just how are you doing? How are your coworkers feeling?
Yeah. Hi, Chris. Thank you so much for having me here. Yeah, my coworkers and I are feeling really conflicted in this moment. So many of us have been overworked and exhausted since April, when we lost half of the staff in our office. And so we feel even guilty for seeing this as a reprieve, because what we really want to do is to be at work helping the people who rely on SNAP and WIC to feed their families and to put food on their tables. We're feeling angry at being treated as political pawns again, so that billionaires can have more money, while the people that we serve are being, strained even further and having to worry again about their benefits being at play. And we're also just anxious because we're hearing about the RIF potentials and office closures that are looming over USDA as this shutdown kind of drags on.
So have you gotten any clarity, any reassurance about the security of your job?
No, since we logged off yesterday after about 10 a.m., we haven't heard anything. Since we're not allowed to touch our government furnished devices after a shutdown, we've just been waiting to see how this all unfolds, just like everybody else.
Do you have any sense about the food assistance programs that you work on? Any idea how long their funding might last?
Yeah, so for SNAP, at least, we think that they will be okay for the month of October. October benefits have already started going out in some states. Some states send them out on the first of the month. We expect that all of the states will be able to issue SNAP benefits for the month of October, but things might get a little dicey if this drags on into November or even past that. And for programs like WIC, it's looking a lot more uncertain. It's possible that they have funding for 3 days, maybe 1 week. Of course, we hope for longer. And we have other programs too. We have programs that get food packages to seniors and people living on tribal lands. We also have programs that get farm fresh produce into schools, and we don't know about the funding for those programs right now while we're in the middle of the shutdown.
I want to play for you, if I can, what we heard from one woman. Now, she works at a food bank now, but she used to be a recipient of food assistance herself. Take a listen.
When I was on it, I look forward for it every month. I mean, you're going to see kids out here, they're going to be hungry, they're going to be starving, they're going to be trying to steal out of grocery stores. It's going to be really hard. I mean, it's going to be a big struggle.
Tell us what you know. What do you think will happen to the people who your program supports if funding runs out?
Yeah, we think that they'll have to turn to the food banks and to their friends and family.
Let's now bring in New York Times chief Washington correspondent Carl Hulse, the editor of The New Republic, Michael Tomasky, and co-host of The Weeknight right here on MSNBC, Simone Sanders Townsend. A great group to start us off this hour. Carl, starting with you, President Trump is spelling it all out for us right on Truth Social this morning. 2 posts of note. First, an all-caps screed saying, once again, repeating the false talking point about Democrats wanting to give health care money to illegal aliens. And then more importantly, perhaps, this one that's on the screen now, in which he says, I have a meeting today with Russ Vought, he of Project 2025 fame, to determine which of the Democratic agencies to cut. It goes on from there. He deems this an unprecedented opportunity. He says, quote, they're not stupid people, meaning the Democrats, so maybe this is their way of wanting to quickly and quietly get this done. So, Carl, it's interesting here that, I mean, the Russ Vought is being positioned as sort of like the boogeyman, right? That he is the scary guy out front wielding the hatchet to cut all these government agencies. We should also note, during the campaign, President Trump tried to keep his distance from Project 2025. Yeah. And here he is flat out saying, yep, that's what we're doing. Do you think this scare tactic will move the needle with Democrats?
Yeah, I think it might backfire, honestly. And you saw some members say this yesterday. The Republicans think they kind of have the high ground right now, which is unusual in a shutdown for the Republicans. And that, going on a tear and laying off a bunch of people could really turn off people to the Republicans. I saw Kevin Cramer was warning against this. So I agree, though, that Russ Vought definitely has been made as the bogeyman here, and Democrats on Capitol Hill see him that way. That I talked to Senator Mark Warner yesterday, and Mark Warner would really be somebody to watch here, right? Virginia senator, lots of employees, federal employees in his state, and he's not really hearing from those employees. They're not mad because they're already mad at Russ Vought about what's gone on with layoffs and threats. So I think the administration probably is going to hear from some of the Republican members in the Senate and the House, like, be careful going forward here. Don't blow kind of what we think is a good hand.
So, Michael, I wrote for The Atlantic on Monday that Russ Vought was trying to do now what Doge started. And here the president flat out saying, yeah, hey, good idea. Do you think, though, to Carl's point, there's a risk of Republican overreach, and they feel really good about where they are on this shutdown, but it wouldn't be the first time that Trump pushed it too far?
I don't understand why they feel so good about it. You wrote about it for The Atlantic Monday. I wrote about it for the New Republic Monday also. Exactly the same thing. You know, I don't recall, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't recall Elon Musk and Doge being particularly popular among the American people. So if they're going for a replay of that, is that really what they want to do? You guys showed poll numbers earlier this morning that already showed that more people, pluralities, disapprove of the way the Republicans are handling this as opposed to Democrats, especially among independents. And if they start really firing thousands and thousands of people, I don't see how that doesn't get worse.
Simone Sanders Townsend, what do you want to hear from Democrats?
Well, look, Mika, I have been listening over the last couple of days to Democrats and Republicans because, you know, my Republican friends, sometimes they are usually better on the uptick on the messaging front. But I think what we heard from Hakeem Jeffries and the Democratic leadership yesterday in their afternoon press conference, and then we heard that messaging echoed from Democrats for the rest of the day, is the sweet spot. They focused on health care.
Hear from the actual workers, the actual people who do the unsung work that keeps Americans safe, that keeps them healthy, that you know, takes care of the things they don't need to worry about. Because, you know, when we talk about public servants, we often don't realize the things they do every day until they're not being done, right? We don't often realize that. They do a lot of very important things that really matter, right? And in this case, Donald Trump and his cronies are taking away not only, you know, their pay and their livelihoods and their security and treating them awfully, but it's hurting you, who are losing access to quality public servants who are just trying to do their friggin' job. So I want you to remember this. There are real people affected here. This is Trump's attack here, holding healthcare ransom, is not just philosophically bad and like ideologically, politically bad. It's bad from a very human level. Donald knows this. I know he's not the smartest president, right? You say he might be one of the dumbest presidents ever, right? But he understands this. He knows that he's hurting real people. And not only is he fine with hurting real people, like he's fine with that as a collateral, he seems to love it. He loves that working class people suffer for what he does. Now it's time for the American people to remember that and punish the Republican Party in the midterms, because this is their shutdown.